AITA for exposing my coworker's fake resume during a meeting. I've always been proud of how far I've come, even if my path wasn't perfect. I, 29F, didn't graduate from some fancy university. I went to a local college, worked part-time while studying, and earned my business degree the hard way. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine, something I earned without shortcuts. So when I started working at my company 3 years ago, a mid-sized firm specializing in corporate communications, I was determined to prove myself through effort, not credentials. And honestly, I was doing well. My boss trusted me, my clients were satisfied, and my coworkers respected me. That was until Brittany joined the team. Brittany, 26F, came in last year as a senior consultant. Everyone was instantly charmed. She was confident, stylish, and had this boss woman vibe that drew people in. During her introduction, she bragged about her Ivy League degree, her years of experience with top agencies, and how she'd led million-dollar campaigns. At first, I was impressed too, but it didn't take long to realize that something about her didn't quite add up. She was vague. She could talk circles around people, but when it came to actual deliverables, strategy, writing, analytics, she constantly needed help. She'd ask basic questions that someone with her supposed experience should have known. Still, everyone treated her like a golden child, while people like me were just support. The tension between us started small. She'd make little comments like, "Oh, that's cute, you went to a community college, right?" Or, "You must be so used to doing the grunt work, huh?" At first, I brushed it off. I told myself not to take the bait. But it got worse. In team meetings, she'd correct me, even when she was wrong. She'd present my work as hers, then act like I was her assistant. One time, I spent an entire week building a client proposal, and she casually slipped it into her presentation as if she'd written it. When I confronted her privately, she said, "Relax. You'll get credit eventually. I'm just the face of the team." That was the moment I started quietly watching her more closely. Something about her background felt off. She claimed she had a master's degree in strategic communications from Columbia University, but when someone asked her about specific professors or coursework, she deflected. Then, one day, she accidentally left her resume open on the shared drive. Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked it,
and my jaw dropped.
She had completely fabricated her credentials. Her Ivy League degree?
Fake.
Her 3 years at a top PR firm? Non-existent. She'd even made up awards that didn't exist. Everything, from her education to her experience, was a lie. My heart raced. Part of me was furious, but another part of me hesitated. Was it really my place to expose her? Maybe she had her reasons. Maybe she just wanted to get ahead in a tough world. So I kept it to myself. For months. Until one meeting changed everything. We were in a client strategy session with senior management. I presented my ideas supported by data and months of research. When I finished, everyone seemed impressed, except Brittany. She smirked and said, "That's an interesting approach, but maybe it's just a bit amateur, don't you think?" The room went quiet. Then she laughed and said, "Oh, I forgot. You don't have a real degree, right? Maybe you should leave the big picture stuff to people who actually studied at top schools." I felt the blood drain from my face. Everyone awkwardly avoided eye contact, pretending not to hear the jab. My boss cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable. And something in me just snapped. I took a deep breath and said, "You know what, Brittany? You're right. You did go to a top school, didn't you? Columbia, wasn't it?" She smiled smugly. "Yes, that's right." I nodded slowly. "That's funny because I checked. And Columbia has no record of you ever attending." The silence was suffocating. Her smile faltered. "Excuse me?" I continued. "And that PR firm you said you worked at? I called a friend who works there. They've never heard of you either." You could have heard a pin drop. My boss looked stunned. Brittany's face went pale. She stammered something like, "That's ridiculous, you're lying." But everyone could see the truth written all over her face. My boss asked her to step out of the meeting. She refused at first, but eventually left, shaking, red-faced, muttering that I was jealous. The rest of the meeting was pure chaos. HR got involved. I had to explain how I found out. I was terrified I'd get in trouble for accessing her resume, but technically it was left in a shared folder, not private. Later that day, HR confirmed what I'd said. Every single part of her resume was fake. Within 48 hours, Brittany was gone. Fired on the spot. At first, I felt vindicated. She'd bullied me, mocked me, stolen credit, and now, finally, she was exposed. But as the adrenaline faded, I started to feel uneasy. The office was buzzing with gossip. People whispered about me behind my back, some saying I was brave for standing up for myself, others calling me petty and vindictive. One coworker even said, "You could have just gone to HR quietly instead of humiliating her in front of everyone." Maybe they were right. Maybe I should have kept my cool, reported it privately. But in that moment, after being humiliated for my background and constantly undermined, I couldn't hold it in anymore. Brittany made me feel small for months, and for once, I wanted her to know what that felt like. Even now, weeks later, the guilt lingers. I didn't lie. I didn't do anything illegal. But I can't help but wonder if I crossed a moral line by making her downfall public instead of private. Did I stand up for myself? Or did I just stoop to her level? So tell me, AITA for exposing my coworker's fake resume after she mocked my degree?